If you are planning to move to Canada within a month, it's now possible. You don't have to write any IELTS, TOEFL, you don't have to get any educational credential evaluation done. And this is a new pathway that was launched in first quarter of 2024 that we're going to discuss today. So if you want to move to Canada ASAP, stick around. Hello and namaste, my name is Nidhi Nagori and welcome back to my channel. If this is your first time stopping by, thank you so much for doing so. And if you are a regular viewer, thank you for spending time with me yet again. I am a finance professional, a content creator, and also the CEO and founder of Globalogy. At Globalogy, our mission is very simple. Anyone, anywhere in the world should be able to move abroad. And to make your going global dream come true, we have a variety of solutions, including job support service, direct job placements, job seeker visas, PRs, and quite a bit of underrated pathways. If you're looking to move abroad, please consider us to be your partner in this journey. I leave a lot more info about Globalogy in the description box, so make sure you check it out. And for now, let's focus on Canada. So I think most of you already know this. I am originally from India. I lived in the US before this, and I moved to Canada a couple years ago, 5 years ago. In the midst, I worked across the world in Australia, quite a lot of European countries, Brazil, and then decided that this is where I'm gonna find home. So for me, the connection to Canada is obviously a little bit more than what you would hear otherwise, and the bias is also strong. But today I don't have any bias. We're going to talk simply through government data and facts. So I'm going to segment this video into 3 parts. First, we're going to talk about what the current labor shortage looks like. After that, second, we're going to talk about what is this new pathway that I'm talking about. And then third, we're going to talk about how to apply, what if it doesn't work, all the caveats in this process. So without much further ado, let's get started. So first, let's talk about what are the vacancies in Canada looking like. And for that, let's go to my screen record. So this is the Statistics Canada data that you can see here. And you can see this says job vacancies, payroll employees, job vacancy rate by industry, sector, quarterly adjusted for seasonality. And now there is a lot of data here, so I'm going to tell you what to look at. The most important being job vacancies, which is the number of jobs that went unfulfilled. So you can see that, of course, there's been a dip from last year to this year, but it's still not bad. Even in this year, as of quarter 1, we had more than 600k jobs that went unfulfilled. And then at the end of quarter 2, we had 580 to 600 jobs that went unfulfilled. Unfulfilled jobs means that the employers were not able to find people to fill these jobs in. So this is the reality of Canada. I know the labor market is not the best. A lot of people talk about that, but I have 2 cents to add on that. If you hear that the labor market is not good, that is partly true. So how I like to categorize the labor market is on the extremes, we have the essential workers, which is blue-collar workers. I don't like to call them unskilled. I just want to call them essential workers. But historically, traditionally, they've been called the unskilled workers, the people who work in factories, plumbing, electrician, carpentry, all of that. And then on this other extreme, we have the highly skilled workers, which is, highly skilled migrants, which still have a lot of demand. And you'll see this in the new pathway as well, because this pathway was also introduced in March of 2024. And in the middle spectrum lie a lot of people who are either semi-skilled or skilled, but not highly skilled. So the middle portion of the labor market is where we're seeing a lot of the vacancies drop, and we're seeing a lot of vacancies crop up on the other extremes. So either you have to be a highly skilled migrant or you have to be okay to do essential jobs. These are the 2 categories of employment that we're not seeing a dip in right now. In fact, this is where most of these vacancies are. So when you hear people talk about the labor market in Canada, it is the people in the middle who truly are finding it difficult in these times. And if you want to better your chances, then being on the extremes, either choosing an essential job or choosing to be in a highly skilled profession is what you should be aiming for, so that you can use these 500,000 jobs to your advantage. So that completes segment 1 of this video, giving me a clear segue into segment number 2, where I'm going to talk about what today's opportunity is. So this particular pathway is called the Global Skill Strategy. Global Skill Strategy, or GSS, by itself is not a new pathway. I have a friend on it. She moved on it when we had Omicron. That was the first time that people were applying for it. And then the pathway was paused in between, and then it was restarted. So by itself, GSS is not a new pathway. It is definitely a pathway that came about after the pandemic. So it is newer in that sense. But this particular pathway is not new, except that they made a change in this pathway. Traditionally, when GSS was launched, it was launched to get people in IT, mostly STEM professions, and a little bit more of like marketing, film production, some outlier professions. But recently they made a very big change in it, giving some employers the right to hire foreign workers under this pathway. First, let's talk about what is global skill strategy and why do I recommend it. Employers that want to attract top talent to work for their company and want a fast and predictable process, they are the ones who are going to do this. For them, the GSS or the Global Skill Strategy was introduced. The benefits are faster application times, work permit exemptions, so you don't have to get work permits, and enhanced customer service. And the best part, foreign nationals eligible must meet all the eligibility and admissibility requirements. And if they present everything on time, they will get 2-week processing time. That's the best part, that it is truly 2 weeks. Back in the days when Omicron had hit and my friend was applying, she'd still gotten a visa in 3 weeks. No interview, nothing. You were just given this visa as long as you are eligible. So now let's look at the eligibility criteria. This was the older requirement, which is, being in category 0 or 1 of tier or national occupation code. So this was the older requirement. They recently, in March of 2024, added GHP, which is the Global Hyper Growth Project. We'll talk about this. And this is a pathway that I'm going to recommend in today's video, because you could be from any background. As long as you qualify under the GHP, you are eligible to get GSS and move to Canada. In both the cases, however you choose, you must meet the wage assessment that the job is offering. Now let's go and look into what the GHP is all about. So the GHP is a consortium of, I think, about 8 Canadian companies that the government has identified as a hyper growth project, meaning that it is growing exponentially, these businesses. And because these businesses are growing exponentially, these are relatively new businesses, they need the talent to back them up, and that's why they're allowed to hire whoever they want to through GSS. Again, 2-week processing time, no IELTS, nothing needed. So let's quickly look into Global Hyper Growth Project. You can see this is the Global Hyper Growth Project that's anchored in Canada. These are all Canadian firms that are acting as anchors in their community, fostering entrepreneurship, building networks, creating jobs, and are catalysts to economic development. There are 8 companies, as I mentioned: Ada, Alaya Care, Celcarta, Clarius, Clio, DPG, Lightspeed, and Vive or Vive, however you like to pronounce it. There is a little bit of a video if you want to know from the government itself of what GHG is all about. And then it is backed by Innovation Canada, which is again funded by the government of Canada. So that's where you have these 8 companies which have been identified as hyper growth projects or personal projects of the government of Canada, so to say. I mean, not that they're like personal projects, they are more of like a personal goal of the government to get these projects up and running and up to a speed which they had envisioned for these projects. And if you want to know a little bit more about the immigration pathway, if you just come down here, you can see that this was published on July 4. This is a new innovation stream that helps them save time and source highly sought foreign talent. It's literally like 2 months ago that this whole pathway was implemented, and you can see that several of the 8 GHP firms have already engaged in the process till date. So clearly these companies have already been hiring. They've been making use of this new program that they have, and they have also received an increased permit duration from 3 to 5 years, making it more competitive and giving Canada further incentive in getting specialized talent to remain here. So if you're looking for a job, like I said, go on to any of these company profiles. Let's look at Lightspeed, for example, and then let's scroll down until we come to careers. And you can see just in Lightspeed, we have quite a few jobs, in 39 in tech, 41 in sales, product, operations, marketing, customers, literally everywhere. I mean, there is an opportunity. So I just showed Lightspeed as an example. You could go to any of the other companies that we saw, any of the other 8 companies that we saw, and we clearly know that they are hiring already. So definitely go check their portals out. But before you do that, let's talk about segment number 3. What is the caveat? What do you get out of it? And what if it doesn't work? So first, let's go back and check what all are the requirements. You can see that the labor market impact assessment, which is the LMIA, is exempt here. So there's no LMIA needed. Now, if you are applying, say, from inside Canada, then yes, you could need it. But if you're applying from outside, probably not. If you have family, so you have spouse and dependents, they are also eligible for 2-week processing of applications. Now let's look at what all do you need to apply just in case you get an opportunity. So of course, you must apply online from outside Canada, complete an application, a medical exam if needed, police certificates if needed, and then any translation of documents that you might be asked for, like degree or anything like that, just in case you're asked for it. And then of course, the employer must pay the processing fee and then submit biometrics within 2 weeks of submitting the application, if needed at all. If you have family that wants to relocate with you, make sure they also apply within the 2-week time frame to use this quick processing time. Now let's talk about what are the caveats. So first, there are limited opportunities. There are only 8 companies that can sponsor you in here. Of course, there are quite a few opportunities available, but in terms of just the number of companies that can sponsor you, it is limited. Second, you must have a niche application to get through. which can be a little difficult to do sometimes because there are a limited number of opportunities. You can only apply to so many opportunities, and you have to customize and tailor your profile in such a way that you're making sure that you are a direct hit for the opportunity that you're applying for. Make sure you're networking at the same time, which is not a strong suit that many people have. And lastly, if you move under GSS, you will still have to take your IELTS to get a permanent residence in Canada. So that is a future plan. You don't have to do it immediately, but you will have to take it in near future just in case you want to apply for permanent residency. That step has to be completed. Unfortunately, that part doesn't change, and that's why we recommend getting into the pool early on. So if you are thinking of Canada, maybe taking a Canadian PR is an option. Just applying for your profile, getting your profile in, because the sooner you apply, the younger you are, the better you are with your points. And then once you get a job, of course, the number of points change, and the number of points increase and your chances increase. Just in case you want to apply for a permanent residency, Global Logic can help you with that. We can provide you an assessment in terms of which province is best for you, which PNP should you apply for, is express entry best, is this temp pathway better? So we can pull in data from a lot of sources from IRCC and get you the best profile evaluation that you can get for your Canadian PR application. Again, the link is in the description box or in the pinned comment. Make sure you check it out. On that note, this amazing video has come to an end. I hope you enjoyed watching this video, and I hope you will consider Canada as your next move. Now, honestly, there are multiple pathways like this specifically for Canada. So if you want me to cover other pathways which also exclude IELTS, TOEFL, and educational qualifications and LMIA, let me know in the comments, and I'm happy to cover a no IELTS, no LMIA required pathway video for you guys. Maybe I can break them up into different pathways and explain each one of them to you, just so that you know what all options you have. I'll see you in the next video. Until then, you take care of yourself. Stay safe. Namaste.